Hi guys, been doing some work on this Porsche 918 Spider, I think it is. Picked it up in a charity shop, cost me £3.50. Don't know what year that was, it was a while ago. I just thought it was rather nice. It's got this lightweight body shell, little clips around the edges. If you've been watching the previous videos, you know that I'm currently using TPU to 3D print new tyres for it. That's an experiment with TPU. Each one is slightly different in the way that I've designed the tyre. Still haven't got it quite right. I've got another one printing at the moment. We'll do the fourth one. And I thought, well, I might as well have a look at it and see if we can hobby grade this. When I say hobby grade, what I do is I leave the original motor and gearbox, change the receiver out for a hobby grade receiver, and change the steering out for a proper hobby grade servo. So what I'm going to do at this moment is have a look in here and see what the easiest way of doing that will be. I've probably done a video in the past just looking at the steering on this, because I did go through a phase of doing videos on the steering on toy grade radio controlled cars, because I seem to keep getting lots of questions about them. So every time I picked up a new one in a charity shop, I'd do a tear down and look at the steering. Right, well, that's the steering motor. It's just got a little peg there that pushes that side to side. I suppose, being as we're taking this apart, we could just have a little look in there and see how it actually works. If we can get it apart. It doesn't want to come apart easily. That's better. Which way round is it going to fall out? Do it that way round. We've got some gears in the top and some gears in the bottom. Okay, so motor, let's zoom in down there a bit so we can see it. Motor with a clutch assembly on it, or probably not clutches. Yeah, it is. Oh, I remember those. It's got two little plates that spin out when it builds up speed, so it actually grips when it's going fast and releases when it's going slow. Let's just look at the simple bit. So gear there would match that gear there would be that one would go onto that one, then that one would finally turn the bit that's just fallen off. That one, and that's the one that pushes the steering side to side. Push that one there. Pushed it through a bit too far. There we are. Now we can see it. So that gives us a fair bit of torque from a small motor because it's geared down so much. And then just to look at what I was on about clutch. Right. those two there, they're actually loose on there. They spin out as the motor speeds up and make contact with the inside of there. So it gives the motor a chance to pick up some speed and build up some torque before it actually grips on the inside of there. So put that back in again. We really want to have that one. Oh, I'll just put that gear in upside down, didn't I? That wouldn't do much good. Right, that's the right way round, and then that's going to sit on top of there and all click together. Only I've missed. Something didn't line up quite. I see, that one slipped out. That's better. Yep, that's it. So that's the steering. Okay, oh, that's inconvenient. I've just broken that wire off. Moving it around. Well, in fact, I'll pull the other one off anyway, because if we're going to stick a servo on here somewhere, we don't need that anyway. Right, if we're going to put a servo on there, we won't need this spring return. Oh, you can't see it because the camera's not pointing in the right direction. Right, what I'm just saying there is we won't need this spring return to get us to the centre if we're using a servo to do the job. So we can undo that and take it off. We'll just finish covering off the toy grade steering while we've got it in front of us. The motor we were just looking at pushes to one side when you press the button on the controller. When you release the button, that just releases the power from the motor. It doesn't drive it back to the middle. That spring is what pushes it back to the middle. So motor push, spring return. Motor push, spring return. On hobby grade, the servo does drive it back to the middle, so we don't need that spring if we're going to use a servo. Now I'm just looking at this. We probably will still need the casing here to hold this down in place. Otherwise it might jump out. Depends what we do with the servo. Well, let's get a servo and have a look. 9-gram servo, or much bigger. I can't remember what weight these are, but you can just sort of compare the size of them. Significantly bigger. I would think for this particular car we might be able to get away with a 9-gram servo, because the car itself is very light. We're not doing off-road or anything with it. So a little 9-gram servo might be strong enough. The question is, where are we going to mount it and how is it actually going to push the steering? Gosh, this is ever so thin, very lightweight. The whole car is very, very lightweight because it's designed to run with a very small motor and very little power. If we put that on there and then have a wire going from there up to there, that would do the steering, that would push. Will that do it in both directions? This is where this bit may jump up out the way. So we might need to either cut this casing up just to hold it all in place, or I could 3D print something to hold it in place. Just so it doesn't bounce up out the way. I'm going to have a think about this because it would be rather nice to 3D print a bracket to actually hold the servo in place using those two screws. And if we had a bit sticking out just to stop that bouncing up and down, that would be even better. Right, I'll have a think about this. Well, while I'm thinking about how to make a bracket for the servo, we might as well have a look at the rest of the car. So that's our receiver, 40 megahertz. These will be the H bridge, or the power transistors if you'd like to call them that supply the power to the motor. Over there, I don't know if you can see, it says F for front, B for back, B minus and B plus for the battery, and L and R for left and right for the steering. I'll see if I can get a close-up of that chip. It's very likely to be a TX2. Let's zoom in again. Right, B and F, backwards and forwards for the drive motor. And on there, it actually says, I think that says QC, oh no, VCC and ground for battery and earth coming in. And up here L and R for the steering, left and right. Looking at the, where's my finger, chip there, RX2. Don't know if we can see that one. Right, I was saying on the other side of the board we'd got the H bridge for the drive motor. Well, that chip there, I'm pretty sure, is the H bridge for the steering, because it needs less power. So we don't need such big power transistors on it. Those things. And then finally, let's see if we can have a look at the gearbox. So I'm pretty sure that I've done a teardown on this before. There'll be a link in the video description to the playlist for this car. Right, well, it looks like a reasonable size motor. And so unfortunately the wheels are just pushed onto the axle, so we can't get them off easily. There's no handy screw on the outside to unscrew them. I suppose we could have a look inside the gearbox if that's going to come apart easily enough. But I don't intend to do anything to the motor. I intend to leave that as it is. Okay, you're going to come apart easily. I did unscrew that, didn't I? Apparently not. Okay. So that's our gearbox. So say a reasonable size motor, but it's only plastic gears. I should just solder on one of my little the JST connectors onto there so we can plug it straight into an ESC. I won't change that at the moment. Swap that out and servo at the front. I think I can probably get away with a small servo like that rather than a big one, but we've always got the big one available if we need to. I think that'll do for today's video. Well, I've taken the opportunity to put a JST, is it JST connector on the motor. I've got a 20 amp ESC there, which is probably not enough to run it full pelt. And I've just got a 2S lithium ion battery there and a servo tester. So that bit works. So we need to sort out the steering, which is what we originally started looking at when I started this video. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.